Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 5. So this week on The Flash we have the long-awaited and very hyped up episode which will serve as episode 8 for the season, as well as the mid-season finale, seeing that the week after this is the crossover, as well as the 100th episode for the entire series, and this episode is otherwise entitled What's Past is Prologue. Now, thanks to the trailer that was dropped for this episode, we know that characters such as Zoom, Earbud Thorne, and Savitar will be returning in some capacity. Some might play a larger role than others, but those three will be there. And who knows who else could, poke their head out of a hole for this episode. The possibilities are actually sort of endless, seeing how many characters we've had on the show in the past, both in main characters and recurring characters for Team Flash and stuff like that, but also just villains of the week and stuff like that, which I think some of them are actually meant to show up in this episode in small cameos, but that's just a rumor. And also, due to how secretive the filming for this episode was, we really can't base our predictions on returning characters from set photos. However, we do know some filming locations for this episode, which may give us a hint as to what to expect roughly. But in this video, we will actually be going over a tease of a certain scene that will happen in the 100th episode that will involve Nora Allen witnessing, in the past, a vital moment in the relationship of her parents. But quickly, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what moment from the past on the show you would love to see the 100th episode travel back to. Is it the particle accelerator incident, the singularity, or when Harry visited the mysterious apartment 4? I really haven't dived into that, so it'll be interesting to see if they go back to that in this episode. I'm intrigued to see what everyone would like to see in this episode, so let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it to show support. So this portion of an interview is coming from TV Guide, who are, well, questionable when it comes to covering these shows, but I will leave the article linked in the description down below if anyone is interested in clicking it. But the interview was with both Jessica Parker Kennedy and Candice Patton on the 100th episode's red carpet sort of thing. Obviously, those two actresses playing Nora Allen and Iris West. And as we know, in the 100th episode, Team Flash will come up with a plan that will involve Barry and Nora traveling back through time to key moments in the show's history in order to attain some key assets that will be used in order to try and defeat Cicada. Whether that's successful or not is for us to wait and watch. But some moments that are witnessed in this episode won't be relevant to that. One of these will be a scene where Nora witnesses a touching moment between her parents that will give her a sort of a new look at their romance as it was just starting out. But this is exactly what Jessica Parker Kennedy had to say about the scene in question. She gets to see a moment, a really special moment where her mum is comforting Barry in this way that really breaks her heart. And this is what Candice Patton followed up with and, talked about the scene as well. She gets to see Barry and Iris as we've known to love them over the past 4 seasons, of them kind of being there for each other. Iris especially being there for Barry during some of his hardest times. It's really nice, I think, for Nora to see the romance between her mother and father and why they are so in love. Now, in the replies to this tweet promoting this article from TV Guide, which as you would expect was filled with the stands and shivers of West Allen, I was sort of surprised at the time I was going through the response. By now they could have done what I'm about to do. But when I was reading at the time, no one was referring to the scene that I am pretty sure is the one that Nora will witness. And people were linking stuff and no one was linking this scene. I was sort of surprised. A lot of season 1 scenes were being linked and talked about, and even some scenes in season 3. And there were some scenes earlier on into season 2. But based specifically on what Candice brings up when she said being there for Barry during some of his hardest times, as well as the fact that we know this will take place during the infancy of their romance, only one scene sort of springs to mind for me at least. And what scene is that, you might ask? Well, it's this one.
When I was in the Speed Force, I felt like I'd finally come to grips with her death, with not saving her when I went back. And then the moment where I'm finally at the place I can move on, my father's taken from me. How am I ever supposed to find peace with that?
I don't know, Barry. But you're gonna have to find a way to do that or it's gonna tear you apart.
I just miss him so much already.
So that clip or scene is from the season 2 finale and is during the wake for Henry Allen following his death via like the vibrating like hand, claw, fist thing of Zoom. So this is like really early on into the episode. So as we hear Barry say in that scene, he goes on about Nora Allen and thinking that he had finally comes to grips with her death and was like ready to move on, but then he is hit with the death of his father Henry. This is like Barry at his extreme lowest. I think this is probably the lowest we've seen him on the show. Iris dying, but Iris didn't really die, so I don't think we can really include that. But Iris is there for him at this point, and without being like overly sappy and like lovey-dovey. This was peak West Allen in regards to the writing, where stuff wasn't forced in their relationship. And yes, I know season 3 had to force stuff with their relationship and just move away from what they did back in, you know, this back half of season 2, just due to what happened in season 3. I understand that. I don't need to, you know, have that pointed out to me. And the show has just sort of like continued that since then. It is sort of like hard to break a mold when you get into it. So I guess you just have to go with the flow. But this was when the relationship was written the best. And I think everyone would agree with that. Like this was peak West Allen, the end of season 2 and maybe beginning of season 3 when they really wrote the relationship and just, yeah, it just worked well. And it would be great for not only us, the audience, to see it again in some way, but also for Nora to witness this as well. Now, I know some people might be thinking of another option in regards to another scene, which is actually from this same episode as the one that I just went over, that being the season 2 finale, and that is actually the last scene for the entire season and this entire episode, which involved Barry and Iris sharing their first like proper kiss in regards to canon. Now, yeah, the first kiss wouldn't be a bad option for Nora to witness. However, does everyone remember what happens right after when Iris goes back inside? Yeah, Barry runs back in time, saves his mum. Oh, hello Flashpoint. F's in the chat for Dante Ramon, I guess. So I don't think that would be a good thing for Nora to witness unless Barry realizes what is coming next and is like, oh shit, yeah, Nora, like we're on a bit of a time limit here. Like, time to go, quick, back into the Speed Force, let's run. And she avoids seeing like Barry mutilate the timeline. That's probably the best, word to describe it, just mutilate. Now, I'm sure there are some other scenes that could be seen as like possibly like great scenes between Barry and Iris, and specifically in like bad times for Barry for Nora to witness. But the scene I focused on is the one that just, stands out. As soon as I read those quotes from both Jessica and Candace, that was like the first scene I thought back to. But if you do have any other suggestions, especially if you're like a big Iris fan, just big West Allen fan, I'm sure you would know of a scene. So let me know what other scene you think it could be in the comment section down below. But that isn't it from this interview. As we know, since all the way back in season 1, there have been many tough choices and not so positive memories for Barry, or that included Barry. And Nora will have to face a few of them when she visits various moments in her father's past. The realization that her dad isn't perfect will be a tough thing for her to face, considering she has idolized her superhero father all of her life, as we have seen in the early portions of this season. But this is what Jessica had to say specifically on all of this. Ultimately, the 100th episode, even though she finds out awesome stuff about her mother, not so awesome stuff about her dad. The episode really brings the three of them closer. Now, that awesome stuff around Iris would most likely be about the scene we previously discussed. However, it could also have to do with that moment in the season 3 finale when she shot Savitar. And the fact that was actually in the trailer for this episode makes me think that could play a part, maybe? Especially because it does look like Savitar's suit will be important to their mission. Like, it could be one of the assets they have to grab. Whether that be like keeping the suit intact and bringing that whole suit back with them, or just gathering the pieces of it. But some of these bad memories and unheroic moments for her father could be stuff to do with like the singularity from the end of season 1 and beginning of season 2. I mean, Iris did bring that event up last episode, and it didn't go as like the Flash Museum presented it. Not even like Ronnie was mentioned in there, in their report of the events. I'm guessing Nora finding out Savitar was actually a time remnant of her father will play it as well as like maybe Flashpoint being revealed to Nora and what her father did. Henry Allen's death itself could be witnessed by Nora, or even her grandmother Nora. Her death could be seen as well. However, I think we've seen, Nora Allen the First's death a bit too much, to be honest, so maybe they might avoid that this time around. But let me know what events that don't paint Barry in such a positive light will feature in this episode, in your opinion, that Nora will experience and be like, wow, Dad isn't perfect. Now, in this episode, Sherlock will reveal to Iris in the present day that something's up with Nora, and it looks like Nora's going to have to, spill the beans to either Iris specifically, as well as Sherlock, or maybe Iris and Barry and Sherlock, or maybe everyone on Team Flash, another twist. There's a big twist at the end of this episode that's going to carry on to the back half. It could have something to do with Cicada, or it could have something to do with Nora, or there could be two twists with both of those characters. But I'm expecting a big thing with Nora that's either going to paint her in a very positive light or in a very negative light, and everyone's going to be sort of questioning her in the back half, and it might negate some of the progress they make through time traveling as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what that is with Nora. But yeah, we know that Sherlock's very suspicious of her, and I think that's for good reasons. And also, the last thing to mention, John Wesley Shipp, who of course plays Jay Garrick and Henry Allen, I guess also the 1990s Flash and the Elseworlds crossover, he has been promoting the crossover, which you would expect because he's in it, but he's also promoting the 100th episode, The Flash. Now, I don't know if he specifically said that he's in it, but the fact that he's promoting it makes me think that he will be in it. That just works out. You think it just seems that he will be in it because he's such a vital. He's vital parts of the history of the show. So whether he appears in the episode as Jay Garrick or as Henry Allen is for us to wait and see. Maybe he appears as both. If I had to make a prediction, I'd probably say Henry Allen because we're time traveling. However, Jay Garrick has been, in that fight at the end of season 3 with Savitar. So if they go back there specifically, you would think Jay Garrick would be there as well. So there's a couple of different points where John Wesley Shipp could show up as two different characters, but that's for us to wait and see. I just noticed over the past day, I guess, that he's promoting the 100th episode, so it makes sense that he's going to appear in it, I guess. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video, show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on the stuff we went over in this video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.